大家好，欢迎来到语言水滴频道。这频道是通过学习英语表达，同时提升自己。如果你是喜欢学习、追求进步的朋友，记得订阅我们频道哦。另外，我们将于月底送出课程电子书给持续学习的同学，所以看完视频的同学记得点赞和留言打卡啊。那我们现在开始吧。第49期是沟通之倾听技巧。真正的倾听和有效的给予反馈，对于建立真正的关系至关重要。在今天的节目中，你将会学习到10个倾听技巧，同时如何在我们的日常生活中用英语表达。第一部分，词汇学习和句子表达。
Active listening. Active listening.
积极倾听，一种专心聆听他人说话，理解他们的讯息，并给予反馈的技巧。
I hear you. I hear you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Go on. Go on. Can you tell me more about that? Can you tell me more about that? Let me make sure I got this right. Let me make sure I got this right. Feedback. Feedback.
反馈，只对他人的言论或行为提供回应或建议。
What was your thinking behind that decision? What was your thinking behind that decision? Keep doing this, it's working well. Keep doing this, it's working well. I've got some thoughts on that. I've got some thoughts on that. I reckon if we switch up our strategy a bit, we might hit those targets faster. In my opinion. In my opinion, that new coffee shop around the corner is even better than our regular spot. I appreciate where you're coming from, but come on, you know how it goes. We gotta think about the budget too. Empathy. Empathy.
同理心，能够理解和感受到他人的情感或状态。
I totally get where you're coming from. I totally get where you're coming from. That must be really tough for you. That must be really tough for you. I can't imagine how you must be feeling. I can't imagine how you must be feeling. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Take your time. I'm here for you. Take your time. I'm here for you. Clarification. Clarification.
澄清，请求更多信息或解释，以确保理解的准确性。
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I'm not sure I follow. I'm not sure I follow. Could you give me an example? Could you give me an example? Can you explain that again? Can you explain that again? Am I on the right track here? Am I on the right track here? Affirmation. Affirmation.
肯定，对他人说话或行为的正面回应或认可。
I agree with you. I agree with you. You're right. You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. I can see why you'd feel that way. I can see why you'd feel that way. That makes sense. That makes sense. Nonverbal cues. Nonverbal cues.
非语言提示、身体语言、眼神接触、语调等，它们可以传达讯息或情感。
Body language. Body language.
身体语言。
Eye contact. Eye contact.
眼神接触。
Facial expression. Facial expression.
面部表情。
Gesture. Gesture.
手势。
Posture. Posture.
姿势。
Tone of voice. Tone of voice.
语气。
Nodding. Nodding.
点头。
Paraphrasing. Paraphrasing.
改述。用自己的话重新叙述他人的话，以确保理解的准确性。
In other words. In other words, you'd prefer to eat out rather than me cooking tonight? So you're suggesting that. So you're suggesting that we should skip the movie and just grab a coffee instead? You mean you forgot my birthday because of the huge workload at the office? Open-ended questions. Open-ended questions.
开放式问题。不仅仅是是或否回答的问题，而是鼓励对话的问题。
What led you to this decision? What led you to this decision? What do you hope to achieve by? What do you hope to achieve by taking this extra course? Can you tell me more about? Can you tell me more about your trip to Japan? I'm planning to go there next year. How did you feel when? How did you feel when you found out you passed the exam? You must have been over the moon. Summarizing. Summarizing.
总结。简短重新叙述之前的对话或重点，帮助确定所有人都在同一页上。
In a nutshell, we need to improve our communication to avoid such issues in the future. What I'm hearing is that you're not really mad about the spilled milk, but more about how I didn't clean it up. All in all, our efforts paid off, and the event was a huge success. Bias.
偏见，这可能会影响倾诉者和听者如何解释和回应信息。
Judging a book by its cover. Stereotyping. Seeing through tinted glasses. One-sided view. Playing favorites.
第二部分，情境对话。
I've been arguing a lot with my boyfriend lately. It feels like there's a barrier between us.
What have the arguments been about?
It's mainly about how we spend our time. He thinks I'm always too busy and not spending enough time with him.
What about you? Do you feel you're dedicating enough time to the relationship?
I do get really busy, but I try my best. He just doesn't get the pressures of my job sometimes.
So it's more of an issue about understanding and expectations, not just about time.
My boss gave me a bad review, saying I lack leadership skills. I'm really bummed out.
Oh, that's tough. Can you tell me more about the specific feedback?
He said I'm not assertive enough in team meetings and often wait for others to make decisions.
So he wants you to participate more actively in discussions and decisions, right?
Yes, but I don't want to come off as someone who wants to control everything.
It sounds like you're looking for a balance. Maybe you can start by voicing your opinions while still respecting those of others.
I had a fight with my mom last night. She always feels that I'm not responsible enough.
Oh, what happened?
I promised her I'd be home by 8 p.m., but I lost track of time while I was out with friends.
So you think her reaction is because she cares about you, right?
Yes, but sometimes I wish she could trust me and not worry too much.
It sounds like you both need better communication. Have you considered sitting down and expressing your feelings and perspective to her? Hey, how was the team building event last weekend? I heard there was some sort of drama.
Oh, man, where do I start? So, basically, our team leader, Mike, wanted us to do this really challenging rope activity. Jen, as you know, is afraid of heights, and she didn't want to do it. But Mike kept insisting.
That sounds intense. So what happened?
Well, Jen finally gave in and tried. But halfway through, she froze and started crying. We had to get some staff to help her down. It was a mess.
Oh no, poor Jen. How did Mike react?
It's like he realized he'd pushed too hard. He did apologize to Jen afterwards. But the mood for the rest of the day was kind of off.
What I'm hearing is that Mike's intention was to challenge the team, but it ended up causing distress instead.
Exactly. All in all, I think the event had some good moments, like the barbecue in the evening. But some parts could have been better thought out.
同学很棒，完成了第49天的学习。希望这一期的内容对大家有帮助，记得点赞和留言打卡啊！我们下一期再见。